Man, let's start off this episode with first off, I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers, the new listeners we got. We broke the download listens hit record with the last episode. Coincidentally,
amazing.
Our first episode recorded at the office was by far the most listened to episode. And if I would have known the second one, the country would have been in this state. I was ready to make people laugh and entertain, and then I was like, well, this seems like a time where we should let's press time out. Let's hit the pause button and get our friend Phil in here, and maybe he can help us decipher what's going on. So first off, thank you, Phil, for joining us today.
You're welcome, man.
Yeah, walk us through.
Big supporter.
Where you at your how are you doing mentally right now? What's your mind state? What's your energy?
Man, my energy is I'm low energy right now, so I'm gonna pick it up.
No, you're good, man.
I'm gonna pick it up.
For those who this might be the first time people being introduced to you. Can you like just tell us what your current title is? Because I'm hard to keep up, man. Because you're an overachiever yourself.
No, I'm a front page editor with Huffpost, formerly Huffington Post.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been there since 2016. Been in that role.
Yeah, as far as when it comes down to a trusted news source, you're my go-to.
Appreciate you.
When it comes down to understanding what's happening or getting like the most up-to-date news on the current situation, I was like, yo, what's Phil tweeting? What's he, and I highly recommend anybody who's trying to figure things out, because I don't remember it ever being like, in my lifetime at least, that's been at this rapid pace.
Yeah.
Follow Phil on Twitter. He is
Instagram, because he has like the video footage with his Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Like that was almost like a news little outlet for me.
Yeah.
Like watching those for the past 2 days.
Yeah, when I'm like out in the field or whatever, I'm trying to I'm swiping between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like trying to let me put a story up here, put a tweet out here, let me put it go live on Facebook here. So it's like
that was amazing.
One man band trying to be
so
yeah.
Yo, Phil, are we tripping right now, or are we living in a Boondocks episode? What's happening?
Man, I don't know if it's 1918 with the coronavirus or 1968 with the protest. Like, I don't know what's going on, man. It's wild out here. It might be a Black Mirror episode,
bro.
I don't know.
I was just saying that.
There's so much happening.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to figure out about these protests. It's dangerous for people to even be outside, right. With this virus going around. So it's like people understand that and they know that, and yet they're still going out because it's important to them to protest police violence and police brutality. So there's like that, and the added layer to that is the people who are at most risk are people of color and Black people, who are at most risk of both facing the police violence, but also the coronavirus. It's disproportionately hit Black communities. Like even my hometown, Detroit, was hit hard with this thing. I know people in Detroit back home who have died from this thing, and so New Orleans is another place. A lot of New York, obviously, there are these places that are disproportionately communities of color that are hit by this virus, and still, there's a protest going around in New York right now. Massive protests.
Right.
So, we're just trying to figure it out.
Can you walk us through the timeline of your 7-day week, like dating back to like maybe Tuesday before? Because I know you work you're basically live tweeting almost current events, and it feels like we recorded our first episode here Wednesday evening.
Right.
So I think that's when the news of George Floyd broke Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe it's Wednesday. So you'll have to.
No. You're good.
It feels like literally there's something else, because as soon as the George Floyd news, I saw it kind of like first,
right?
But it didn't really like blow.
That's what happened with when we recorded our episode. We made a conscious decision where we didn't know what the full impact was until maybe 2-3 days later,
right?
Yeah. Until after our episode, because I think we're all around the same age group. If unfortunately, it feels like we've seen situations like this over the years. There's like always, it's like almost, it feels like a new hashtag, but something about this one feels different. I don't know if it's like the perfect storm between the coronavirus and the tragedy of George Floyd, but I know for a fact that I haven't seen rioting or protests in this capacity since, I don't know, I wasn't really old enough to remember Rodney King.
Rodney King, yep.
But
shit, I wasn't even here.
yeah, he was in Africa.
Well, yeah, man. Well, you know, what really is impacting us even more so than, I guess, you know, some people aren't really quite thinking about it is the financial issues that the coronavirus has placed on the communities, and so that adds a level of anger that people already have. You know, so there's obviously the racism, obviously the police brutality, but then there's like kind of like hanging over our heads. There's levels. Yeah, hanging over the head is like the impending recession, even though we're kind of already in a recession.
Right.
Like we're in the beginning stages of a recession. Mm-hmm. So there are 40 million Americans who lost their jobs. So there's that frustration.
It felt like there was kerosene being poured on this already existing issue.
Yeah. And Trump his account is a powder keg. You know, like last night was supposed to be MAGA night at the White House. You know, Trump Trump had tweeted, like, oh, MAGA night, like suggesting, that his protesters were going to come to the White House and, I guess, beat up protesters or
inciting,
whatever, right?
Inciting violence. Mm-hmm. That's what feels different about our current situation is this is the most videos and surveillance I've seen, coverage as far as to the point where we're seeing undercover police being involved with some of the protests, almost inciting violence. That's why I really was excited to have you, because correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like some of these undercover police officers who are inciting violence or maybe are trying to expedite the process to getting to where we are right now currently, which is now curfews being in place, which gives them the right to do the things they were already doing, which is like abuse and really just hurting anyone who wants to protest.
Yeah, it feels like that. Last night, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Bottom, she instituted a curfew. I think it was for 9 p.m. Yeah. And I don't know if you saw the video, but there were two.
Yes.
There was a young black. I believe
college
there were a couple
students.
College students, Morehouse and Spelman.
I think those two cops were just
fired. They were just fired. They were just fired. But the point of that was, I think I read that they missed the curfew by like 13 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And now they were immediately fired because the mayor was like, well, this is excessive force.
Right.
This is excessive force, so the curfews can be really dangerous because we don't really know how the police are going to react, right? Like, can you get away with a citation? Can you am I going to be dragged out of my car like these people, like these students were? Yeah. So it's not really quite sure where the line is, especially when tensions are so hot right now, when everybody's blood is running so hot right now. So the curfew thing I think is kind of dangerous. Yeah. And we're about to probably see something tonight.
It was already announced. Muriel Bowser just announced
for 11 p.m. Right?
I think it was earlier.
9 p.m.
Right?
9 p.m. Okay.
9 p.m.
Yeah. So there are a bunch of people downtown now. So we're gonna see what happens.
So should we be like worried about like it getting to like a martial law type of situation, like across the country?
I don't think so. I think there are specific cities. Yeah. Obviously, like the urban sort of like hot spots, like the Minneapolis obviously is one of the spots because this is where it happened.
Right.
But also like the Atlantas, Dallas, Miami. These are places where I've seen protests. Columbus, New York, large populous areas.
Sure.
And so I don't think that'll be enough to see a martial law. I don't think that we'll see anything like that. But you are seeing instances of state officials and city officials saying like, okay, we need to do something. We need to institute a curfew, or we need to up our policing, or things like that. Yeah.
Is this unprecedented? I mean, historically, just as far as our generation goes, has there anything 4 years ago when it was Trayvon, Sandra Bland, it all happened in a cluster, right?
Yeah.
Back to back. And I remember that's when Colin Kaepernick first took a stand, and then it was like LeBron James. But then after that, it felt like things kind of went back.
Yeah. I think Trayvon Martin is always like kind of like the I think that is
that where the Black Lives Matter
pretty much. So like Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin was kind of where like Black Lives Matter really sort of like emerged, right? And so Trayvon Martin, I would say was so Mike Brown was Ferguson. That happened in Ferguson, and that's where you saw just massive like just protests, things like that. I would say you can predate it back to Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, and like I like to say, police brutality it predates Trump.
1,000%. 1,000%.
It's not a Trump phenomenon, right? But it's he exacerbates it. He does exacerbate it with his kind of winks and nods to law enforcement and policing. So it's I don't know if I would say it's unprecedented. I think we're going to see how it plays out. Yeah. But I would definitely say that when I think of protests and I think of how all of this originated, and it even goes back further, than hashtags like protesting.
Sure. I think I was speaking from a place of like our generation. As an adult, I'm at that age where I feel like I have to hold myself accountable to the point where like, what am I saying? What am I putting out as far as like on my social media platforms, and also more importantly, educate myself to the point where I know what I'm talking. I know where I'm talking about.
Okay, got you.
And go ahead.
So to that point, like someone like you, like I feel like you have a good amount of information.
Yeah, we always bring you up when we talking about current events because we're like, we need to talk to Phil about. Because even today, I texted you about where to send money to. Because there's so many places we don't know where's the money going.
Right.
And finally, I think we got we're gonna announce.
And does it help actually sending money as well? Like questions like that I feel like a lot of people need answers to. Like they just don't. Like going on Twitter is just a clusterfuck. Like you don't know what's happening. Like it's too much going on.
I can't speak for Bo, but I know I personally feel sometimes helpless on what to do. Like I don't think posting a hashtag personally for me, I think I could do more. Which is like reach out to you, have you on the podcast, and maybe like help out the listeners understand what's going on too. Because maybe the reason why I'm thinking this is unprecedented because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Minnesota, it's a Democratic governor, Democratic mayor, and the police chief, I believe, is a Democrat. So I think that's something that we can't blame Republicans for.
Sure. Right?
Which has usually been the narrative in situations like this when it comes to racist. The initial racist instinct is like, Republicans are the problem.
Yeah, and
they're holding us back from systematic change.
Right, and you know what's really interesting about social media is that you can see a change in that mindset. Yeah, a lot of the conversations that I see online are usually held by people who consider themselves to the left, like far left. Like to the left or socialists. We need to abolish the police, things like that. Or they have those perspectives. And so I've seen people say that, look, we need to get rid of just all of it. like let's abolish government, let's just get rid of all of it.
But how realistic is that?
Yeah, that's right.
That's where I'm coming from because like we're adults, we all pay taxes. Well, as of this year, I started paying on time, and like we're getting to a place where everyone in this room, we've worked very hard to get to where we're at. I have a lot of respect for your where you worked yourself to get to, and now we're past the point of like yelling and screaming. We want to help. We want to see results. We're tired, but we also see ourselves as people who have a platform, and we want to use it for good. And we want to know like how can we educate ourselves and our listeners on what we can do as a group. Because I know for a fact there's so many people out there that want to help that we just don't know how. Yeah, like there's so much confusion.
Because like, what can you do outside of protesting that kind of pushes that message across?
Yeah, so you can definitely support organizers. Sure. So like the fund that I sent you, the Minneapolis
Minnesota Freedom Fund.
Minnesota Freedom Fund. Yeah. So that was shared widely online, and people were wondering like, where's this money going to? But once it was properly vetted, people began to share it. So like there were celebrities who were sharing it. People were giving to it. They just needed to know that it was vetted properly by the right folk. Right. So the organizers were the ones down like on the ground vetting the fund, right? And so mainly like the best way to really help is usually financially, right? Like either sending your own finances. I remember I was talking with the organizer, who was telling me it's you coming into Minneapolis is not really helpful for us because you're just another person we have to worry about,
right?
And then this is just extra resources go to you. You're kind of pulling from the people who are already there, right? And so rather than that, you can actually use your finances, or if maybe not even just money, but you can tweet about us, sharing a link to somebody who can actually who can donate. So there are different ways that you can do it. I would say financially, and like you were just saying about retweeting, a retweet to me it does go a long way, because you might find that you have not a huge following or whatever, but the person that follows you might. Right. And then they might see it, and then that's really how things go.
Spreading awareness.
Reduces the degree of separation. For the message to get across.
What's your stance on celebrities and artists putting out information? Because we were having to talk about Desi Banks. I don't know if you're familiar with Desi. He found himself going through it. He found he got himself in some trouble tweeting out. We'll put a picture on the podcast because this is on YouTube. But if you're listening, he was like, This is a protest. This is a protest
with a picture of Martin Luther King.
Yes,
and that was at Selma, I believe.
Right.
And below it was a picture of
looting and rioting.
Yeah, looting.
Not this.
Yeah, not this. Not right. This. And so, that didn't
go
well.
And that just got backlash. He
well.
lost like 500,000 followers. I think 800. He was at 1.3 million. Now he's at 566,000.
Wow.
So
on Instagram?
No, Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was that big.
He was huge. He's like the new. He's like the new guy. He's like the new like. It was King Batch before. Now it's like
Now it's B Simone is another one.
Yeah, she's getting some flack as well.
Yeah, getting flack too.
A lot of celebrities actually getting some flack. Like
they're trying to cancel a lot of artists. And what's your take on like? Dude, this is the first time in my adult life where I'm like scared to tweet something. Like even if it's like I had a tweet the other day. I was like, man, this makes you appreciate Colin. Moments like this makes you appreciate Colin Kaepernick more. Yeah. And I tweeted that, but then I deleted it because I was like, well, I don't know how someone's going to take this. Like what? Like I'm just like, but it was coming from a place of Colin Kaepernick to me is the epitome of someone willing to sacrifice it all. Like in a time when people are about it, but then they're not, when it comes to like sacrificing their finances, they're like, well, I'm down for the cause, but Colin, there was no turning back. And I think it always, and you look back when he initially took a knee, like to this day, people are still trying to argue, well, that's not how you protest. But now you want to like people have a hard time with now, like, well, what's the right way to protest? You know what I mean? If that, if you're not happy with what's going on now, Colin tried to take a peaceful approach, and that still wasn't enough.
Where'd that go? Yeah.
It's like this whole situation is just like mind-boggling. You're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't, and that's what's so frustrating. That's why I'm trying to spread information where people can, understand like what is the best way to get results.
Yeah, I think there's two things that people need to understand about social media. The first thing is, if you are going to tweet something, you need to be clear about what you're saying. Yeah. You need to make it, you need to be clear, like Desi posting, Desi, right? Desi posting a meme, first of all, it diminishes kind of the point of whatever point he was trying to make, it diminishes it. And also, if he says that is not what he meant, because I don't know what happened after. I don't know if he did an apology.
He did an apology. Okay. He dropped the video.
Now, if he says that that's not what he meant, then the point that you were trying to make, it was just not clear. Yeah. So you need to be clear online. You need to be clear about what you're actually saying.
Right.
And the second point with social media is it's just if you don't know what you're talking about, you need to do the readings.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's really no excuse for people to be misinformed in our age, especially.
1,000%. No, this is a time when we're taking this more serious than ever.
Yeah, like people are, and honestly, I think the whole thing is just the culture of celebrity is crumbling. Yeah, it's crumbling. People are seeing that celebrities are not, and you know, I think most people know for the most part that celebrities are not.
I don't think they do, bro. I don't think they. You know what's crazy, because they still waiting for like certain people. Like, we haven't heard from you, Beyonce. It's like, yo, what do you? These are entertainers.
Yes, they're entertainers.
They're not like they're. A lot of these people aren't hip. I mean, it takes a lot of energy and work. Your mind has to be in the right. Some of these people process things different.
Yeah,
I mean, not everyone's like. For us, we have to check ourselves and make sure that, you know, like we're in a headspace to do something like this, like conduct an articulate conversation.
Sure.
I have to make a conscious decision, like, all right, turn the jokes off today. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll get one in there later in this interview, but but like for right now, when I'm trying to, you know, get information and share information, to me, that's what I can bring to the table.
Right.
You know, and we're going to have a certain amount of people listening to this. That's pretty, you know, for our community is a good amount. That can affect, I think,
it's
positive
important.
change.
Yeah.
In a time like this, especially when people are getting hurt, people are really putting their lives at risk in some cases, especially if they're going to go out after curfew.
Yeah.
And you got hit. You went out last night?
Oh yeah,
Big
you got hit.
It
fell down.
It really sounds way worse than it was. I was just in the way, and I got hit by a rubber bullet or a crowd control bullet.
Yeah.
And so
how did that even start? What were you doing?
I was so I was out last night this was at the protest. That was, you know, what the park that's in front of the White House, like the park that's right there, 17th and H. Yeah. So basically, this was around midnight, and that's when things really started to get kind of hectic. They were breaking the windows into this Ronald Reagan building. There was like a Ronald named after. I've never seen it before, but yeah. So they pretty much bust the windows out, and so the police were like, "All right, we're coming in." And so they used tear gas, flashbangs, and the bullets to get us out the way. And so that's when people started running.
Man.
Yeah, I got hit. Christ. And I do honestly think that the Ronald Reagan building hit was intentional.
For
obviously,
real?
You know,
I mean, it's a government building, like.
But also Ronald Reagan and what he's done.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
you got some street cred now.
No,
you better drop a mixtape, man. You took a rubber bullet, bro.
Here comes a joke.
That's what.
Hey, man, I had to get one in there, bro. This has been too informative. Too much good information. I gotta get some ignorance in there.
No, listen, my stance on jokes, and even when I tweet, is like, you know, I definitely want people to. Like it's serious, but we cannot always be serious at all times.
Sure. No, I agree.
I definitely agree with that, and that's why I think comedians and I think the little versus battles that happen on this stuff like that, I need it.
You need it because you're on the forefront.
We all need it.
Like the same way nurses are, you know, on the front lines of Corona. I feel like you are on the front lines
of information.
Because I could easily just turn off my phone, and it won't affect my like work. I mean, maybe like. Eventually, but for you, that's your job.
Right. Yeah. There's no logging off.
That's why you looking. You fried right now. But we appreciate you because like you taking a break from like, and I'm sure there's gonna be way more news coming. But then even like currently, it's every city is popping off. It feels like.
Yeah. I mean, tonight we're gonna see some things happening. I hope people stay safe.
Are you desensitized to this, bro?
Man,
it feels like
I don't know. So I actually, it took me a minute to watch the George Floyd video. Like, it took me a minute. I didn't want to watch it. Like when it.
There was another one.
I still haven't seen it.
Because I follow you on Twitter. So there was the Ahmed Aubrey. You didn't watch it.
I didn't. So I haven't watched that one at all.
I saw you tweet that though. I don't want that one. I don't want to see it.
I haven't watched that one.
I couldn't see the George Floyd one. Like the Ahmad joint kind of fucked me up.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that one. So I haven't watched it. So I usually.
And you tweeted something eloquent about why you don't want to tweet it out. Or something like that?
Yeah, I try to be careful about sharing videos because we digest it all the time.
When I say I follow, but I don't know if you know this, but I'm sure there's other people who feel the same way. But I really do follow your lead when it comes to, you know, how to process things. Because again, you're on the forefront of information, and there's only so much someone can take in.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then there's also the responsibility, the moral responsibility to, it's like finding that balance, right? Like what's the right amount of, you know, speaking up, but also not like crushing your mental health.
And that stuff, and just a quick aside, like that stuff really matters because Facebook, they're being sued right now by content moderators. So the people who Facebook employs to watch the craziest stuff on the internet that people upload to Facebook, and they remove it, but they have to watch it first.
Okay. Right.
You know, they're being sued because
or if you want to get sponsored stuff.
Yes, they are being sued. They are suing Facebook, a group of them, because it crushed their mental health.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
I could only imagine what those people are watching.
Yeah.
Because I see my timeline.
But like, how do you personally deal with it? Because like you're on it like from the moment you wake up to you go to sleep. Like I'm sure it doesn't stop for you. Like you're always on.
Yeah, man. So what I try to balance it off by watching other things that I enjoy. Yeah. Watching
versus
other
battles and shit like
the
that.
versus battles is a great example. Today Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond. Like I try to watch other things.
Mm-hmm.
You have to either balance. Like I have to balance it out. Folks who are not in media, they can just turn it off.
Yeah.
But media folks, like we have to watch that because it's important to get it out there. Yeah.
Nah, as that, because like me being on Twitter, like I just so many emotions go through like in the span of 5 minutes. I can't imagine. Like I could just like I could turn it off like we just said, but for you to like go through that like all day long, it's like it's heavy, man.
Yeah, it's been a. I mean, honestly, since getting into journalism, like that's kind of been, and I started in 2015, in the middle of like the Trump campaign. So my journalism career has just been a whirlwind since then. It's
I can imagine what it's been like since having that job since Trump's been in office.
God.
We're gonna transition into something, but before we do, we want to announce, since we're on this topic, I just want to stay on it for one more second. We decided, Bo and I, we talked about it. This was like we felt something that we wanted to do something. So we have a upcoming Zoom comedy show Thursday. We're teaming up with the DC Improv. Bo and I, we decided that all the Overachiever proceeds from the show will be going to the Minnesota Freedom Fund. It's the first time we've done something like this, but we felt obligated to do something
for sure
for everyone in Minnesota who's going through. We want to make a difference, so that's what we're trying to do. Hopefully, we encourage other people to do the same. But at the same time, I'm not trying social media shame anyone. I've been seeing that a lot. People like you ain't about the cause. There's a lot of that going on too, and it's like I think you got to find a balance.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Everyone can do their part, but you just got to figure out what your part is.
You can only do what you can.
Yeah, do what you can, right?
Man.
So if you guys are want to buy tickets, you can go to the DCimprov.com or go to the overachievershow.com for tickets. I think and we have a great lineup. Benji Himmelfarb, Kason Wilson, and a special guest, Rafi Bastos, who recently did the Joe Rogan podcast. He's great. So you guys will guarantee fun times. Plus DJ Bo will be there spinning music.
Feel good music.
Yeah, man. Let's take it down a notch. I mean, I feel bad. I feel like I took you from your job to bring you back into more stuff like that, man. Yeah, man. No, we haven't seen each other in a long time. I just, thank you for being here, bro.
Yeah. You were a big part of like the other chapter of the podcast.
Yeah. Now you brought us into the podcast space, at the old space.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've been, I feel like we've been connected, but like we've been going through. We were in LA. For a little bit. And now we're back.
I appreciate you for that ride, bro. I will never forget that ride. I appreciate you for that.
Oh shit, y'all met on the plane on like that one time, right? That's tight. Okay.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. That was random. That was pretty cool.
And then we had
my first time in LA.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I took you to Bloom Cafe.
Yeah.
That was dope. That was a good time.
That's my first
You ever
time
see
in LA,
yourself in LA?
Nah, man.
Can you picture yourself anywhere else?
Somewhere probably in the East Coast.
East Coast
maybe
vibes,
back in Michigan.
big city.
Yeah.
Politics.
Yeah, man. I like it out here a lot.
Yeah. Yo, man. Joe Biden is saying some wild shit, bro. What's up with your mans?
Biden, he's an older cat.
Yeah.
He's older.
What's up with him talking to Charlamagne? Like, come on, man. Come on.
I think
come on, guy.
He was just really, really comfortable with Charlamagne, and Charlamagne can. The thing about Charlamagne is he can lure you. Charlamagne is really good at luring you into thinking that you are, comfortable.
Yeah.
He does that. Joe Biden is not the only one. To get caught up in a conversation like that, because Charlamagne is actually, for whatever people think about it, he actually is good at what he does.
Right.
So he got a little too comfortable, and I think I think a sharper Joe Biden wouldn't have made that. Wouldn't have made that gaffe
10 years ago.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is probably the wildest time that I remember since these are the options right now.
Yeah. Should we be worried?
Honestly, man, the way 2020 is going, I think we all need to just be worried.
Yeah. We're all just.
We just need to just be in this just a state of worry. No, I mean, I really don't know, man. Like I just this year,
he's like, I just deliver the news, bro. I don't make them. I'm here
this year. Who know? Like who would have thought like this? Everything that's happened this year, when you think about it, like this has been a wild year.
That's what we wanted from you, Phil. Tell us this shit wild, because we trying to.
It's wild, man.
Yo, it's wild.
Man.
Yo, tell me, am I tripping? Because I want to be funny, bro.
Dude, January, Kobe Bryant dies,
bro. Speak on it, son.
Yeah, and then
are we tripping?
From there, pandemic, and it's World War III, like early, like
the Iran stuff. Yeah,
I mean that was a thing.
That was a real.
Kim Jong-un disappears for a minute. You know, all these things are just happening.
The Last Dance.
Yeah, which I watched. It was good.
That was like our escape.
Yeah.
It was a Michael Jordan documentary,
and
just him and the memes.
It was, man. Whatever moments you can take.
Dennis Rodman going to Vegas,
man.
And Carmen Electra being in the room. That's the highlight of our quarantine.
Man, dude.
Just imagining what Dennis Rodman's doing in Vegas.
Any moments you can take, you just need to take them for your own mental health and your own sanity.
Just be in the moment.
Any moments, yeah.
To the point where Tiger King became the biggest thing in America.
Yes.
That's how bad things have gotten.
You know, I still haven't watched it.
Well, that's impressive because I feel like everyone and their mother.
Yeah, apparently.
That was like a national moment.
We're still wondering. We're wondering at the newsroom if he's going to pardon Joe Exotic.
I mean, bro. I mean, that
would actually be really
that's checkmate right there. That's like Bill Clinton playing the saxophone on Arsenio, right?
Yeah.
That's just gonna be his moment. No, that's what it is, bro. That's what it is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. I do believe in comedy. I do believe, but as a comedian personally, I feel like it's important to get the information first.
Yeah.
Before you start, I had some jokes ready to go, son, about looting. I had some jokes about, that energy, because well, here's my thing. My early take on it was like, well, if you want to get back at the white community, why loot the Target? You gotta loot the Pottery Barn. You know what I mean? Take the pots and pans, you know what I mean? So Karen, she can't eat kale no more. She's got to eat, you got to make her eat pizza. We don't fight them with kindness. We're going to fight them with gluten. Hit them where it hurts. That was my early take, you know what I mean? But then it's like, all right, well, I got to do the right thing and get the information and educate myself and the viewers. But, I want to get back to being ignorant, I eventually.
Right, at some point,
At some point, I think it'll be fine, but not because I remember this is very similar energy to when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
The first week, the owner set up an interview with Fox, and they wanted to get my take on how important is comedy during the coronavirus. And this is like 3 days in, right? A lot of questions, and I'm waiting to hear what's happening. Ironically, we still don't know. We're like 3 months in.
There's a lot we don't know.
And we still don't know almost as much as I didn't know in that moment, to the point where it's like, are we wearing masks? Are we not wearing masks? Like, there's all these things, but then you see thousands of people protesting. You're like, oh, what happened to social distancing?
Do you remember the first week of that first time frame where people were like, oh, black people can't get the coronavirus?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
See, that's why information is so important.
Bro, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember
that was a thing.
Our kids can't get it. You know what I mean? We don't know.
That was a thing. That was a thing. The black people couldn't get it, and we were trending online because of it. They were like, oh, black people, and then fast forward. Barely 2 weeks later, maybe it's hitting black people disproportionately.
The hardest.
So it's just like, man,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Damn, son. So I was being interviewed, and the camera, the whole thing, Fox News, it was national syndicate, and so they were like, yeah, Martin. So, how important is comedy during the coronavirus? And I think later I figured they wanted the take of saying comedy is very important, but what I said was, hey man, I'm worried about my family like right now. I ain't really trying to make jokes right now because I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, yo, I'm wearing a mask right now. I was wearing gloves in the interview. I was like, I'm wearing gloves. I don't know. I ain't thinking about jokes right now. And they're like, cut.
Yeah.
Can we get another comedian?
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
they wanted
bad.
a joke for sure.
Yeah, they wanted me to be like, jokes. I live and die with the jokes. I'm going down with the ship. If this was a Titanic, I'd be telling jokes right now. But the reality is, I don't think I would be. Like if I was on the Titanic, like I would get on the raft, then tell jokes to the people on the raft.
Right.
I would, you know what I mean? I'd be like, all right, I'm safe. All right, we good. Let's go. Let's get the show going. But if it's like chaos, y'all gonna have to, I don't know, watch Desi Banks videos.
No.
This is a protest.
Oh my gosh. Why? I don't understand like how somebody can be just so like thoughtless with their platform,
bro. But see, these people, they don't. You need a team. I don't know if I run shit by you. Sometimes I text you like, yo, bro, what you think about this?
Yes,
like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's like there's certain things that I don't see all the. It's hard.
Yeah. It's hard. I won't deny that.
For a lot of times people don't realize for a creative person or an artist, you're so stuck in your brain when it comes to creating. Or like when I'm in full joke mode, that's all I could think about. But there's so many angles that you might not see because you're so stuck in this one world.
Sure.
You know,
that's a good point.
You gotta run it by someone. It's like using one side of the brain but not using the other for a long time. Yeah, where that other side just gets rusty.
It's like a good editing process. Like I mean, even I'm an editor, and somebody edits my stories. It's just like that.
But that's smart. It's responsible because when you tweet something out, it's being seen by hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah, that's why.
Which is why I before I tweet something, I think about it for at least a minute.
Do you ever think about stuff like that? How you're like the plug for like our generation?
I mean, I just know that I have to be responsible for what I'm putting out.
Like who's the coolest person that follows you that you're like, damn, I can't believe this person follows you.
This is
because I see your joint pop up on people I like followed. I'm like, damn. Carlos Miller, likes.
I love his tweets. And so,
he's like to me, he's probably one of the top comedians, right? Working right, 85 South Show. Carlos Miller,
that's a popular one.
Yo, he'd be like retweeting Phil a lot and stuff, and I'm like,
man, his tweets are great. One person that there are probably a few. I mean, I'm blocked by I think more interesting.
Oh, okay.
but
Donald Trump.
Oh man,
Phil Lewis, target number 1. Get him out of here.
I would say
bad ratings.
My list of interesting people I would say is Cicely Tyson. Even though I know she doesn't run her page obviously, but I think that's interesting. Baron Davis. Cool. AOC.
Okay. AOC. That's dope.
I like that, and I don't know. It's
shout out to AOC. You get a VIP ticket to the Overachievers show.
And Chrissy Teigen is a good follow.
Oh
too.
Yeah, she's dope.
And then on my list of people that have blocked me, for sure, Terry Crews, Janae Aiko,
really,
Ashanti, which is LL Cool J had me blocked for a minute, and Jalen Rose.
LO was wildin'.
That's a wild list of people.
That's a random list of people.
Ashanti. What you do to get on Ashanti?
I have no idea why Ashanti blocked.
Say murder.
Everybody else
nothing.
I know. Yeah.
Death row over murdering.
I made a joke when there were rumors about her breakup with Big Sean. I made a joke that went kind of viral, and she like saw it and blocked me.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Sorry, artists be sensitive about this shit.
Artists are very, very sensitive.
Yeah.
You know. They're very, very sensitive. So artists and journalists don't always clash because sometimes we say things when we have to say things, and it's not always going to be PR.
Your Twitter fingers are deadly, bro. You out here, ending Meek Mill's career, low key. You the Drake's ghostwriter.
I'm careful about like what I tweet because like even I don't want to like sick followers on people,
sure,
right?
And so I try not to like if I see someone that is posting something that I disagree with, I'll either I can DM, I can reply, so it's not like if you quote retweet, that's like the big joker, like that's like the everybody's gonna see it, like, and that's what people with like large followings, if they see that a quote retweet, that means everybody can see it because it's like you tweeting. Right. Like a reply is like, okay, everybody's not gonna see it.
Right.
But a quote retweet is like everybody's seeing this. It's like, hey, everybody come look at this.
Right.
You know? So I try to be real careful about that because having a bunch of people in your mentions is not fun. It's not fun. It's annoying, actually.
Do you turn your notifications off?
Oh, yeah. Those been off for years.
It's been off for years.
Those been off.
Yeah.
But having like somebody like over a bad take or something, like you could say Martin is a terrible show or something like that, or mac and cheese is terrible. People will sit in your mentions for days and call you everything.
What was your last memorable like moment like that, like a bad take?
I said something, and I honestly still don't even think this is a bad take. I said something about. I shouldn't use this example because I can't quite remember what I said, but it was about Beyonce.
Anything Beyonce related.
Yeah,
I mean, Beehive is like
they were relentless, and they do that to every. It doesn't matter who you are. Your mentions are done.
I think they're going on
days.
Beyonce right now.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that was I mean, that's the last one I can really think of, and then there was a tier list of famous black TV shows, and it wasn't even my list. But it was just a list that I shared, and I just asked people, like, what do you think about this? People ripped my mentions up for days about it. For days. They were going in.
Oh, my God. It's amazing.
Yeah, bro. Yo, man, I don't know how you do it, but we appreciate all the work you do. What's the first thing you want to do when you're out of quarantine?
Oh man, I want to, and I guess I could do this like now too, but I'm really looking forward to like some seafood, like a seafood boil.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it now, but it's just like there's something about actually going. There's something about sitting in restaurants.
Yeah. There's something I think we all realize that as Americans.
Yeah. There are two things I really notice: sitting in restaurants is underrated, but also sports. And I'm a basketball person, like I'm a fan of basketball, but I didn't really realize like how sports really kind of like just brings
it's the bloodline of this country.
Yeah, and without sports, it's just like without any sports,
the NBA. Like I know for a fact that the NFL wasn't coming back, that shit would be chaotic.
Yeah. I really didn't realize like how cathartic watching sports was for people.
Yeah. Son, without comedy shows, to be honest, man, it's been affecting me mentally, bro.
Yeah.
I had to start a podcast. I said I'm a podcaster now because I need an outlet, son. This is, usually the episodes, usually isn't like this, but I really do think we had to do something like this where we get that. We had to get the information, bro. Because I rather learn. I'm on some like trying to teach now, like share information. I think I get just as much as like sharing information because even the people I watch on like podcasts, like comedy podcasts, sound like I be like they be having takes. I'm like, bro, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. Like you really are not speaking for minorities right now. With the exception of like Mike Tyson's podcast.
Yeah.
The most inspirational podcast I think out there right now. Mike Tyson Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson.
Me onto that.
1000% game change. Like has held me down over quarantine. Like if you're talking about food for the soul like that, listen to Mike Tyson. My man is woke. He's like he's something clicked in his brain, and now he's just dropping jewels every episode. So check that out for anyone.
He's giving a lot now.
Mike Tyson?
Like what we're getting at. Yeah. Like just the information you get from there is like.
And I think that's where I'm striving to be at a place because I still have a long way I still feel like I have a lot more to go. Yeah. I think we all feel the same way about ourselves individually, our goals, but I could honestly say each of us has things to share as well. 100%. Like we're all like 8-10 years in. I think like in our journeys, like I don't know how but I think we're almost at that 10,000 hours
for sure.
You know, putting in our jobs, and I think like you as a DJ, you as a journalist, and then me as a comedian, we can share now. And I think that's not every episode has to be like this, but I still think this is unprecedented, and I do think there's people listening right now that have been very confused on what to do. I know I have. I know I've been like, I don't know. I feel like if I tweet out Black Lives Matter, someone's like, what, you know what I mean? Like, that's not enough. Or, like, you know what I mean? I get yelled at by someone like, what are you doing right now? Yeah, too late. Yeah. Now you tweet? Where were you before?
Honestly, some of it's just turning off your mentions, So it's like, there's a fine line because, you can turn out, like, for me, I don't read all of my mentions at all. Like, there's no way. But I'm definitely open. If I'm wrong about something, like, it's what it is. Yeah. Like I'm wrong about it.
You're past that point.
And I'm okay to say like, look, I messed up with this. I'm wrong about it.
Because you move quickly. You gotta
you have to move quickly. And I'm not perfect with this stuff. So it's just definitely there's that fine line between knowing that most of these people are just trying to troll you, but there are some people that are actually giving you constructive criticism as to how you covered this or how you do these things. And a good example of that is when I was out with the protesters, I was taking video and taking photos. People were saying like, can you blur the faces? Because this you actually might be putting people in harm's way. Right. And that's something I really didn't consider.
And how though, like with Secret Service or the police?
So with the police, yes, but also with other people, because these pictures end up on white supremacist forums.
Wow.
They end up online. And who knows what could happen with that. So there are all these sorts of things that you have to kind of think about.
I was thinking more on some government stuff, but I didn't even think about.
That's even scarier.
Yeah, I didn't think about alt-right stuff. Yeah, dude, I would love for you to be our like political correspondent. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
We're trying to build out our little YouTube space. This is we've been overdue on putting our stuff on YouTube, but now it's easier for people to find us, and our episodes are starting to pick up steam, and we want to be able to share information that's right. So I noticed that in your space, when it comes to journalism, everything's shifting to video.
Yeah, it's called the pivot to video. Everybody's pivoting, pivoting to video. When I was at another news outlet, and I actually got a chance to.
No, that's me.
Make sure. Okay, just making sure that I had to. When I was working there, we were focused on editorial and focused on growth. We were focusing on Facebook actually. Yeah. Facebook at that time, Facebook was the big, driver of content, right? Like of analytics, until Facebook changed its algorithm for video, and we were like, okay, now we have to do all of now we have to focus on video, and so a lot of people made this like pivot toward video. And which means that they laid off a lot of editorial folk, people who were doing the writing. Right. And it turns out that this wasn't smart for journalists in general. So for journalism writ large, right? So, video is not.
If you ever need video, hit us up. So we working right now. So
man, I encourage people who are creators to do video. It's good to have that. It's good to have that skill, whether that's you're behind the camera or in front of the camera. It's the future. I agree with that. It's definitely the future.
How you adjusting to that, like with journalism changing that, kind of like the whole old formula is like dead and gone.
Well, for me, I'm just trying to make sure that I stay relevant in other capacities. So one of the most important things that I think a young person in media or a young person that's trying to be, I guess, in even a creative space, is to focus on improving their own brand. Yeah. So like not focusing on improving a corporation's brand. Like that's not going to do anything for you. You want to improve your own brand. Yeah. Whether that's garnering a following or making videos or you are your brand, and you can take you wherever you go. That's right. To any company or wherever you go. So to me, that's what I'm finding is to be the most important thing. So I'm trying to figure out different ways to make myself a asset. You
gotta start your podcast, bro. You need the Phil Lewis podcast.
Oh man, podcast. I'm gonna leave that to y'all.
All right. I think in your field, when it comes to the digital space, you're next up. Yeah. I really think that you can be doing some really, you're already killing it, but I think you can, when I look at you, I think you're the guy. It's just a matter of stepping into that, those shoes.
Man, I appreciate that. I'm really trying to get this newsletter off the ground.
Yeah, so, I'm
look, try to get that off the ground.
We'll spread the word, and then when our comedy shows are back, we'll find a way to integrate you into get you back in the mix with that, and put our audience onto you and your news up to date, because you be tweeting some funny stuff too. Your memes are funny as hell, bro.
Listen, I'm a fake comedian. Fake comedian. No, I just be randomly putting stuff out there, and I've always had random thoughts about things, and Twitter's like gave me a place to put them.
Yeah, we just started using Twitter. We just started using it after.
Man, listen, I've been trying to tell folks Twitter is the place.
It is.
It's really great.
But it's also where you get unhealthy too.
It's the most toxic relationship, because you enjoy it. You enjoy the stuff that's on there, but it's toxic, man.
Yeah,
it's toxic.
Yeah, nah, it's a girl, a hot girl with STDs for sure.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
I mean, but isn't that correct? Okay. The moment I crack one joke off, it's you guys are turned off. No, I'm just trying to give the people something, man.
It's funny. I just wasn't ready for it.
All right. Well, we gotta have you back, but next time, like, we gotta have you more like on some like you know. Yeah.
More joyous.
But now I'll be
a better time.
But can I say something though? I feel better.
Yeah,
I feel a lot better after this.
Me too. After this convo, I think y'all are two of the first people I've like actually just sat and talked with in a while.
Because like, I'm not gonna lie. The first 10-15 minutes of this conversation, I was like, bro, do you feel anything right now? You got any feeling? Because it almost felt like you've been seeing so much that like it's hard not to be desensitized because your job is to get all this crazy. Bro, like my timeline, you see so many violent videos.
Yeah.
I've been emotional seeing a lot of this stuff. I'm like, yo, I can't. The one with the mace in Atlanta, like all this stuff, and I'm like, bro, how can someone whose job it is to look at all of this and to tweet it out,
man? Like that shit's just like, yo, on. That's why I was like,
and so that's why, yeah, I feel a lot better getting the information, knowing about the Minnesota Freedom Fund, doing the right things, you know, and then also putting people onto these things. That's what we need to do right now because people are gonna wake up tomorrow and they're gonna listen to this.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to take away something because, bro, it's like CNN, MSNBC, or LL Cool J.
Oh, yeah. So,
where you, like, where you getting your news from? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wanted to ask that onto that point. Like, where can we get like, where can you go to get, who do you look
put us on to some plugs. Who are the news? Where can we get the proper?
Because I go to BBC because I'm trying to get like a outside the US take on things.
So there's like differing. So I go to the Associated Press is like usually, I think so. For Huffpost, the Associated Press is like our bar.
Yeah. For
official news because they're like a wire service.
Okay.
And so like they do their own reporting, but all sorts of they have the ability to have all sorts of like outlets use their resources.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, so the Associated Press is usually like if you need to know like what is going on and that is accurate. Now sometimes they mess up too. Everybody does.
What's their Twitter handle?
AP.
Okay.
Yeah, the Associated Press. Yeah. So they're like the gold standard usually for it. And then from there, you know, people go to PBS NewsHour. And I'm just talking about if you're just looking for just the news, like without
no
like
bias.
slants, you know, PBS NewsHour is pretty good.
Right, sure.
AP is pretty good. And then, you know, you can get to other places that you might need to see the news, but there might be some slant. So then you have like CNN, you have us, you have places even like BuzzFeed News, which is, you know, BuzzFeed for a long time was thought of, oh, that's the site that plays like the videos, cat videos and stuff.
Right.
They have a robust news team. Well, they just laid some people off, so I don't know if it's robust, but they have a strong news like background now. Nice. You know, and so there are a lot of different places you can go. AP, PBS NewsHour, CNN, HuffPost.
What like AJ Plus?
AJ Plus is another good one. They do a lot of great video. You know, they do a lot of great video. They're good with video. They're like Vice. They're like Vice with video, like short video. Vice is very good for video.
Right.
Slate is good. They're just, I mean, I could rattle them off. Like there's some great places.
I mean, that's a good amount. Just
we gonna look into those.
Yep.
Let me see where we at. Yeah, we good, man.
Cool.
Yeah, you excited to get back to the comedy shows, bro?
Man, listen. So whenever somebody comes to visit, you know, from out of town, we go to comedy shows.
Dude,
like we go to comedy shows. Like we go to yours, or we go to all sorts of comedy shows.
We got to turn up at the shows because the Overachievers Army, we've gotten bigger, man. We were taking over LA for a little bit. We had a nice run until this Corona came.
Corona knocked everything.
Yeah, what's the verdict? Did someone eat a bat? What's going on with that? Is that factual?
Honestly, I think so. I don't.
Has that been debunked?
I actually don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know.
That's the thing. So if anyone's saying that's not right, I did a tweet about it. I was like, I went from chasing my dreams in LA to moving back in with my parents because someone in China ate a bat, and then I got a tweet like, "This ain't it."
There are two tweets that you can get where you know you messed up.
Yeah.
That ain't it, and this you.
Oh, wow.
This you is the new one. This you is the new one.
Oh,
this you where somebody pulls up your old tweets. If you say something like, you could say something like, man, I hated the Fresh Prince when I grew up. And then somebody will say this you, and then quote teach you, and post like you saying like old tweets from like you 2014 saying like, oh man, I love the Fresh Prince. Like that, when you see that tweet, you just got to delete your account because you know you
real.
Fuck.
But I'm at a point where it's like, if I don't get a couple of this ain't it joints under me, then I'm like, I ain't doing it right.
You can't be worried about it.
As a comedian, I was like, yo, I gotta go for it. That's the standard.
Because the thing is, like, the bigger you get, you're gonna get more of that, even if your joke was funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like it won't even matter.
Well, I'm trying to get to a place where people kind of understand like where I'm coming from. That's why this episode was important because like, you know, a lot of people already know me, but at the same time for new listeners, because now we're on YouTube, I got to like clear the slate and be like, all right, this is where we're at right now.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? If you ain't hip to us, this is where we at. We trying to put out positive information. Then our next episode, we're going to get back to being ignorant. Yeah. But this time, this is going to cleanse. This is for cleansing the spirit and the soul. Then we're going to get back to our regular scheduled programming.
This
you know what I mean?
Sure.
We have to do important. Minnesota Freedom Fund. You know what I mean? We're going to try to get $1,000 for them. That's the goal. $1,000, like hopefully with the ticket sales after we announce this. And yeah, man, just keep rocking, keep supporting the community, and put out funny stuff.
Yeah, man.
Informative.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for
work,
thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Man, y'all have been so great. Like, you know, I've been hanging with y'all for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, y'all like for a minute. Y'all done got this space, man. Y'all are just going. I just can't wait to keep seeing where y'all are going, man.
Well, we're gonna keep rocking with you. Where can people follow you?
Well, I'm on Twitter, Phil_Lewis_. That's usually where I'm at, but I'm also I'm using Instagram more. So Phil .Lewis. That's Instagram, and then I'm also on Facebook, just Philip Lewis.
Yeah. All right, dope.
Awesome.
Also, if you like this episode, share it with your friends. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment. We're going to be giving out Overachiever t-shirts to people leaving comments that make us laugh. So if you can make us laugh in the comment section, you get a free Overachievers t-shirt. Me and Bo are going to reply to everybody who comments. So, yeah, do that for us and interact and help us with the YouTube algorithm. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.